So good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Misha Porter. I'm the president and CEO of the Bronx Community Foundation. Yes. We are the first and only community foundation in the Bronx solely dedicated to delivering resources to our borough. The Bronx Community Foundation is focused on solving systemic and institutional challenges in the Bronx and building generational wealth, and that's why we're here today. Our work focuses on programs including housing and food insecurity, digital equity and small business, support workforce development, and equity and justice. We've raised and deployed over $10 million in resources in the Bronx over the last few years, including having one of the largest COVID-19 emergency release efforts ever in the city. I want to welcome you to the historic Bronx Post Office and thank our host, Young Woo and Associates, for opening the doors to the community to this historic building for the first time in 10 years. Yes. So, on July 24th, the Bronx Defenders, in partnership with the Bronx Community Foundation, launched the Bronx Cannabis Hub. The Hub's aim is to ensure that the social equity provisions of New York's cannabis law are realized in the Bronx by providing information, opportunities, and support to the communities that were most harmed by cannabis prohibition. The ultimate goal is to bring support and educational opportunities to the Bronx. So today continues the Foundation's commitment to educational opportunities. And with that, I am so proud and honored to welcome you to the Bronx Dispensary Showroom, New York State's and the Bronx's first adult retail cannabis use experience. This is not only a workforce development fair, but it is also a community activation event. Today is our opportunity to remain true to our commitment to support educating our community around this amazing moment. This is the first of the kind in New York, and of course, where would we do it but in the Bronx? New York's cannabis industry presents an opportunity to build generational wealth for Bronx communities that suffered from cannabis prohibition. And the Bronx Community Foundation is committed to providing the educational opportunities to help us get there. Today, we will showcase some of the key aspects of what a dispensary can be, from the front of the house to the back of the house, and how legal dispensaries could operate in New York. This is critical because many individuals who will be entering this market have never seen a dispensary in full operation. They don't exist in New York State. Folks interested in this building need to travel to Boston, California, or New Jersey. And even then, they only see the front of the business. We know that regulations are still under discussion and out for public comment, but based on current drafted regulations, we wanted to bring this compliance educational experience to our community, connecting to OCM's and Cannabis NYC's vision to educate and support communities like the Bronx. We also have over 20 organizations here to provide opportunities to sign up for cannabis job training and learn about job opportunities in the cannabis industry, which include the New York State Department of Labor Cannabis Employment and Educational Development Team, the Office of Cannabis Management, OCM, Cannabis NYC, Lehman College, Cannabis Workforce Initiative, South Bronx Overall Economic Development Corporation, SOBRO, Ponce Bank, and more. And even more significantly, we are in District 4 in the Bronx, one of the highest police districts for cannabis in New York City. So an educational, generational, wealth-building, job creation event in this neighborhood should be a priority for all of us. We know that Bronx residents have been arrested for marijuana-related offenses at disproportionately high rates. And we know that Black people have been over 8 times more likely to be arrested on marijuana charges in New York City than their white counterparts. There have been a lot of promises made to communities of color around the cannabis industry, and those promises have been made across the country. We're committed to ensuring these promises in New York are kept, and communities that have been devastated by cannabis prohibition are now prioritized. And nowhere is that more critical than here in the boogie down Bronx. Yes. So today is a major step in our community commitment to creating equitable workforce and educational opportunities for building generational wealth in under-resourced communities like the Bronx. I want to thank all of the cannabis industry organizations who jumped in to support us in this effort, including Dutchie, Tamika Group, Vicente Sederberg, Point 7 Group, New York State Cannabis Connect, and so many others. And lastly, before I introduce our first speaker, I want to remind you of this incredible building we're in today, a historic Bronx site, the 149th Street Post Office, a 1930s historical landmark that hasn't been open to the general public in over 10 years. I want you to admire the history of this great building and admire what we're doing here today. This place has played such an important role in our community for almost a century. So we are excited for what this building has the potential to become in the future. And with that, I'd love to introduce our first speaker, Ann Forkutza, Head of Strategy Growth at Dutchie.
Good morning, everyone. I am Ann Forkutza, Head of Strategic Growth here at Dutchie. On behalf of Dutchie, we are honored to be providing compliant dispensary point-of-sale software solutions and technical training at New York's first adult-use cannabis dispensary showroom experience here in the Bronx. As someone who was born in a Muslim country in the small town of Syria, Brunei, I never thought I would ever be part of celebrating such a historic cannabis event and sharing the stage with powerhouses like Deputy Bronx Borough President Janet Bigaro, various district elected officials from State Senate, New York State Assembly and City Council, Chairwoman Tremaine Wright of the New York State Cannabis Control Board. Look at her earrings, y'all.
Yes.
And Cannabis NYC Founding Director Deshita Dawson. Thank you all for making time to celebrate with us today. Thank you, Dr. Misha Porter, Desmond, and the Bronx Community Foundation for being amazing co-hosts for this educational event with Dutchie. When Desmond and I first had the idea to create a compliant dispensary showroom to provide hands-on training experience to complement the academic learnings at the Bronx Cannabis Hub, I knew right away that we had to bring in Temecca Group, one of the firms awarded by DASNY to design and build New York's adult-use retail cannabis dispensaries for CAURD licensees. Thank you, Mike and the Temecca team, for going above and beyond with this dispensary showroom build-out. Our mission here at Dutchie is to provide safe and easy access to cannabis, and that mission rings true across these 3 pillars at this 3-day event. This first pillar is focused on compliant dispensary education. A rising tide lifts all boats, and the success of our CAURD licensees will set the stage for a successful cannabis industry in New York. Thank you, Vicente Sederberg, for being our compliance partner. I'd also like to especially commend the Office of Cannabis Management for putting forth their guidance document and draft adult use cannabis regulations. The OCM have an incredibly tough job, and they show up and they listen to the New York cannabis community. We wanted to show everyone how straightforward that these regulations and these guidance were to follow and execute it in practice, even in its draft format. The second pillar during this event is community. Thank you to all the various community groups for bringing the community to this event, including Pilar and Hector representing the community.
PX.
And finally, the third pillar is the importance of workforce development. Tiffany and Jumani and the team at NYSC Connect have done an incredible job curating a group of workforce development partners and associations, including Cannabis Workforce Initiative. They remind us that many jobs in the cannabis industry do not have to be plant touching. that the beauty of this cannabis industry, it is a melting pot of talent from all sorts of work experience. My background in computer sciences and digital advertising somehow led me to witness cannabis legalization in New York. It's hard to imagine that this event came together in less than 8 weeks. And even though 8 weeks and considered 8 months in cannabis time, we were definitely pushing the limit of what we were capable of. This event would not be possible without our strategic partners, Kaya Push, Sapphire Risk, Meyer Security, Peak Beyond, Lucid Green, LeafLink, New York Cannabis Project, and Point 7 Group. Now finally, none of this would exist without our Dutchie team volunteers and our hardworking event planning team, Sarah, Nikki, Jex, and our event planning rock stars. You know who you are. Thank you for showing up for the industry, and thank you for showing up for New York. The most incredible thing about our industry is our ability to come together and all rally around a just cause. This historic and meaningful event is a tiny snapshot of what we are all capable of when we have everyone from elected officials, regulators, the community, workforce development, construction, design, cannabis tech, and compliance all coming together in less than 8 weeks. Now imagine what we are capable of accomplishing if we continue to work together, if we continue to set the tone for the New York cannabis industry, which will, in turn, set the tone for the rest of the country. Just imagine what all of us are capable of. Let's find out. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mike Wilson, the CEO and co-founder of Temecca Group.
Hi, everyone. I want to put a few thanks out. Obviously, Desmond for bringing us into this. It's what an amazing experience of, putting this store and educating, everybody in this room. It's going to be an awesome experience. I'm also, the Bronx Community Foundation, the Bronx Cannabis Hub, Bronx President Vanessa Gibson, Office of Cannabis Management Chief Equity Officer Damien Fagan, Tremaine Wright, and Governor Kathy Hochul, and lastly, Ann from Dutchie. It's been an amazing 8 weeks of working with you and putting this together, so super excited and thrilled to be part of it. Just to give you a little introduction to Temecca, I founded the company 32 years ago. We've built about 7,000 retail stores in every mall of America, and in that journey, we've built about 1,500 jewelry stores. And when I saw cannabis, I thought, hey, this looks like the same thing. So jumped in, got involved, did a couple stores in the mid-2000s to 215 stores in California, and then in 2016 said, this feels like the right time. So we got in with brands like Stizzy out of California, built their first store. From there, built every one since, and there added cookies, and we've done over 400 dispensaries all throughout the United States. So just to give you a little background, so coming, and we really wanted so hardly to get the New York card because what we've seen in California, Arizona, the social equity has failed. They just give out paper, but there's no guidance, there's no roadmap, and what happens? They end up having to partner with other people, and it falls apart. What we're doing here is leveling the barrier of entry, getting them a store that can compete with anybody in the space. So that's what we're super excited about and being part of. I want to make sure I get all my thank yous. Another thing is I want to thank you is all my sponsors that came in and helped me. Obviously, Sapphire Risk Group, Tony Gallo, Myers Group, Myers Security, Kaya Push, Peak Beyond. So thank you so much for helping us. What else? I think that's about it. And I'm very nervous about doing these things. This is not my gift, so I apologize. And like I say, I'm really looking forward to getting these card stores opened, getting feedback today, and educating everyone I can. And don't be scared to ask questions. That's the other thing that I've seen is people are scared and they don't know what to ask. It's an open book. Please ask any questions, anything. I'm around most of the day today, and I'll be here tomorrow. But if anything you need, just ask me, and I'll be more than happy to help and educate. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are so excited to have our Deputy Borough President, Jeanette Peguero, join us. So please welcome Deputy Borough President Jeanette Peguero.
No. Hold on. We're in the Bronx. Good morning. And a historic morning. Buenos días. La energía, por favor. Somos del Bronx.
Yes.
Okay, BX. No, this is how we roll in the BX. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, President Dr. Misha Porter. As mentioned, my name is Janet Peguero, and I have the honor and privilege of serving as the Bronx Deputy Borough President under the leadership of our Bronx Borough President, Vanessa Gibson. Yes. And I just want to acknowledge Chairperson Wright, who is with us this morning. Every time the Bronx calls, she shows up for us. Thank you for your collaboration. Earlier this year, we hosted a town hall for the Borough of the Bronx. And the purpose of that town hall was to educate. We need to acknowledge that in order to have this conversation, there's still a community in the Borough of the Bronx that's still healing from the traumatic experiences of the criminalization on cannabis. We are still healing. And while we are healing, we must learn. And we must capitalize on this moment that has historically and systemically criminalized Black and brown folks. And so in this moment, while we are here, let's not forget that many of our uncles, brothers, hermanas, tías are still doing time, are still behind bars. And this generation has an opportunity to change that narrative, to change our history. And so the partners that are here today are committed to equity, not equality, equity. There's a difference. And so we must emphasize that. And I want to thank each and every one of you for being a part of this historic moment. I want to thank the sponsors, the collaborators, the folks that are in the trenches literally fighting to ensure that equity is not a buzzword, but a practice. Okay, so I want to thank you all for being a part of this moment this morning. The Bronx Borough President sends her love. She is committed to the education and the mobilization of our communities, knowing that the zip codes that have been most criminalized are right here in the Borough of the Bronx. And I just want to say a couple of words in Espanol because, again, it's Black and brown folks that are being impacted. And if we're not communicating this accordingly in the language that we speak, then we're failing our communities. Estamos aquí para educar a nuestra comunidad e informarles de cómo se opera un dispensario de cannabis. Por muchos años, el Bronx se ha visto afectado de manera desproporcionada por el acceso de policía y las leyes de droga de Rockefeller. Mucha gente, mayormente latinos y afroamericanos, recibieron sentencias largas y mientras ellos pierden esos años de su vida, otros se beneficiaban de gran manera. Las cosas han cambiado a nuestro favor. Con la legalización de cannabis tenemos la oportunidad de participar de un mercado que antes nos condenaba. Es una oportunidad para el crecimiento económico en este condado y creo que traerá muchos frutos. Muchas gracias, les doy las gracias a nuestros colaboradores y a nuestras organizaciones que están aquí para educar y cambiar la historia de cannabis. Muchas gracias.
Let's give it up for our Deputy Borough President. And y'all just note the amazing, powerful women up here. We love you, Hector. You're the homie. But you know, the homie's up here. But shout out to the amazing, powerful women up here. And one of the champions that helped bring this legislation to pass is here with us today. Tremaine Wright, Chair of New York's Cannabis Control Board. Woo.
Good morning, Bronx. I am really, that's right. Bringing you greetings from Brooklyn. But I'm going to say I'm always happy when I come here to the Bronx. It is such a joy and an opportunity to be able to stand before a community that has recognized what harms have been done, but can see the pathway forward and understand that they have a role to play in the cannabis industry in New York State. So thank you for leading the way, Dr. Porter, for our Deputy Borough President, our Bronx Hub, it's the Bronx Hub, Bronx Cannabis Hub, as well as our Bronx Community Foundation. This is a demonstration of how everyone comes together to make sure that everyone understands the pathway forward. I believe that at the state level, we have been led by our Governor Hochul as well as our legislature so that we could implement the Seeding Opportunity Initiative here in our state. I just want to remind everyone, Seeding Opportunity was not part of the legislation that passed legalization for cannabis in New York State. It is something that our legislature came back to this year in 2022, passed a piece of legislation that gave us this pathway, the opportunity that began back in March, so that we could fast track opening the New York cannabis market. So within 9 months, we are seeing from nothing in the ground to having stores just about ready to open here in our city and across this state. That's what has happened under the leadership and also collaborative work across state agencies. Having a commitment from our DFS, our banking, they govern banking and insurance, to our, NYSIF, our insurance fund, coming together and saying that they're going to find pathways so that people can have affordable workers' comp and disability insurance. Because what we're building is not just regulations on how to sell it, we're building regulations so that people understand how to build good, strong businesses. Businesses that are going to allow them not just to create work for themselves, but to create enterprises that hire other people, that have community impact, that build generational wealth. And that's what this moment is about for us. This is a seizing opportunity, taking advantage, dictating what it will look like in our communities and how we want to participate in this industry. So thank you for allowing me to be a part of this moment of self-determination, because that's what this is. And so I'm proud to be here as a partner. I will continue to do the work on our end, and the state is here to support you. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And you know, when New York does things right, they do things right. And so we are so excited to have Dashida Dawson with us, the founding director of Cannabis NYC Small Business Services. Oh my goodness. Good morning, Bronx. I'm also from Brooklyn, so greetings from Brooklyn. The B2B, we love it. The other B. No, this is a really surreal moment for me. As everyone knows, at the heart of Mayor Adams' administration has been equity. And so at some point I had to look myself in the mirror and say, it has to be you, girl. And so I'm very pleased to be back home as a Brooklyn-born native, East New York. Like the Bronx, one of 8 neighborhoods that represented over 85% of the state's prison population during the 80s and 90s, largely due to drug arrests, which we know a large percentage were cannabis. I've fought nearly 7 years in this space as a cannabis patient, to be a patient with dignity. And so this is a full circle moment to come back into the state that has passed the most equitable bill. Every day I'm proud to be a New Yorker, but the last 2 months in this role, I have been so thrilled to be a New Yorker, working in coalition with people and organizations like the Bronx Community Foundation and the Bronx Borough President's Office, and the countless community members who have been in the trenches with us from day one. We will have equity from day one because we held the line, and we will need to continue to do that going forward. I am also really thrilled to be leading Cannabis NYC as part of the blueprint for economic recovery. We talk a lot about the opportunities for cannabis, but in particular, not only will we restore communities, we're looking at recovering from what has happened to our communities as a result of COVID. Which, as we also realize, our communities were hurt the most due to COVID.
largely because they were damaged the most from the 40 plus years of the war on drugs. It's a cycle that we're looking to stop, and I'm excited to lead the way. Cannabis NYC is strategically located in the Department of Small Business Services. This is an agency that for the city already helps people start and grow businesses. And so one of the very first things we're going to be doing, of course, is ensuring that people can start and grow their cannabis businesses. We're particularly focusing on transitioning people who have been previously existing in the cannabis space, what we call the legacy of this industry here in New York City. We're particularly focused in ensuring that there is a space for you, facilitating that transition. Today, I have a resource table, and although I'm still very lightly staffed, I am going to be on site all day to answer questions, not only about the cannabis industry, but what we have in store to come. We'll also be bringing it to you, but in a for us, by us model. We're going to be making sure, again, that as we develop things in our community, is actually for us, it is by us. I'll leave you with the mission for Cannabis NYC because I think it's very critical. And it's aligned all the way through the state, and that's the best part. I don't have to lead the state. We're following here. But we will become the #1 global hub in cannabis industry excellence, yes, in education, that's why we're here, and in equity, while we're here as well. And we'll do so across business, science, and culture. Because without business, science, and culture, I don't want it. I'm gonna be honest, I don't want it, right? And we want authentic culture. Lastly, we're gonna have to think big, start small, and act fast. That's my personal motto, and I look forward to working with everyone here, and I hope you all visit me at my resource table over there. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And let's make sure we visit the resource tables. There's so many amazing things happening here, but none of this would be present without the advocacy of our community partners. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to Pilar de Jesus from Take Root Justice and all that jazz.
Hey! Good morning, everyone. When I say social equity, you say now. Social equity? Now. What do we want? Social equity? Now. All right, I was like, what am I going to do? I got to put my organizing hat on, get some more fire. Thank you. And thank you for the Bronx for having me. I'm a born and raised Latina. I wear many hats. I work at Take Root Justice as a senior advocacy coordinator, fighting many, many issues, including many landlords in this district. But my passion and my business is All That Jive New York City, and we really focus on educating and organizing. As it was mentioned here many times, education is going to be very important. It always has, because many of us grew up thinking cannabis was bad. Oh my God, cannabis, crazy, and little did we know, it's just a plant. It's a plant, and it has seeds, and it requires water and love and food and nutrition, and just a plant. And the one that gives you flower is female. So, I just wanted to highlight those things, right? But we didn't know these things because we weren't getting educated about the plant and all its benefits, right? Because so many people thought, oh, you just want to get high. But it's medicine, as it was mentioned. It is medicine, especially for us people of color who have been harmed, who have been violently harmed, whether it's for our housing, whether being discriminated for education, higher education, being discriminated for getting employment because maybe we have a little conviction on our record. Just another fun fact, there are some states that you're not even allowed to walk a dog, have a dog walker job if you have a conviction. Is that right? No, right? So imagine if you have some barriers like that, what that does. People don't even know there's about 58,000 barriers one has with having a record. So education about the harm that prohibition has caused us is going to be extra necessary, because there's a lot of people coming in this industry, and you see them in the other states, that they didn't go through that harm that we went through. They don't know what it's like to be on Rikers Island, or what it's like to be in Central Booking, or what it's like to be in Central Booking as a woman, because I've been there a few times. And unfortunately, not that I wanted to be there, I don't think any of us do, but women especially in Central Booking here, at least in Manhattan, and my experience in the Bronx, we're always pushed to the back. Oh, I always ask, why has no one called for 12 hours? No women have been called for 12 hours. I've sat in arraignment court waiting for family member, female, woman, to come up, and none. So there's a lot of harm that we need to make sure that we get our reparations. I know we use the word social equity, but it's reparations. It is time to give us back what you took from us, right? Am I right? It is ours. So I'm glad and I'm happy that the Bronx Foundation brought me in to be a part of this event. My program is tomorrow, and I want to thank all of the folks that I had to reach out to because, like they said, you guys say 8 weeks. I think it was like 3 weeks. I was like, Kirsten Desmond, I was like, what, 3 weeks? You're crazy. But we did it. We organized. And organizing will continue to be one of the #1 tools that we're gonna need to do moving forward, because if we don't continue to organize, we gotta organize and make sure the regulators get it right? We gotta make sure they do it right, and they need to hear from us, and we gotta be in their face. Because when we were, and I'm gonna end with this, when we were in Albany, I chaired the Community Reinvestment Working Group. We had to be in the faces every day of the governor, of the legislators. You know, we probably were extra annoying at times, but that's what we had to do because we weren't being heard. The governor wanted to create a bill that was gonna harm us more, and it didn't make sense. So I will end there, and thank you, and see you tomorrow. And thanks to CWI and all the agencies. I'll see you tomorrow, and thank you tomorrow.
This day is about the active participation in transformation in the Bronx and New York City and beyond. And so, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the homie, Hector Garrido, also known Gerardo.
Yes.
Mi amor, so sorry. But more importantly, Freedom. Help me in welcoming Freedom from One Freedom.
It's hard to follow that, so I don't know what I would say right now. But my name is Hector Gerardo. I go by Freedom. I wear many different hats in the movement. I'm an organizer by trade, but now I'm a media person, I guess, because I have a podcast called Blue Dream Radio. I'm also a farmer, a land steward, so I'm a hemp farmer. So I'd say that hemp is the way. It's the way for us to make money in this industry, because I'm sorry, guys, we lost this battle of cannabis because the MSOs own it. So for me, it's hemp. Let's move hemp forward. And I took the spot of Wanda, and I want to give a big shout out to Wanda Salomon. She's one of the biggest organizing names you're gonna meet. She brings the house down. But for me, I'm gonna leave it like this. I'm a community organizer, I'm a union organizer because I believe in unions. So there's a motto in union organizing that is it's educate, agitate, organize, mobilize, and fuck shit up. So that's what we're gonna do. We gotta keep people honest, right? This is beautiful here, right? But we need to mobilize the community. We need to mobilize the people to organize, to keep the regulators honest, to keep the politician honest, to keep the nonprofits honest, to keep the foundation honest. So we need to start mobilizing and creating change that is gonna be long change for generational wealth. And I'm gonna leave it like that because tomorrow is our program and we're gonna make it happen. Come tomorrow.
I thought you didn't know what to say. You know more than what to say. So again, these are partnerships, right? And so, ladies and gentlemen, we are so honored to be joined by Councilmember Althea Stevens and Councilmember Kevin Riley, who are going to also bring remarks because from the City Council, they are also going to be champions for this effort. Woo-hoo.
I don't know how you follow that, man. I don't know if I'm gonna drop any F-bombs up here, but
I might.
nah, that was just a real comment. I think if you look up here, you think you see a collaborative effort of legislators, advocates, and just community partners. I'm a son that was affected by the war on drugs. My father, I always share, was incarcerated because of the war on drugs, and even was deported back to this country. So this has been a plant that has affected the growth of a lot of families throughout our communities for many years. I think now we have the opportunity to capitalize off this. This brother's talking about generational wealth. Cannabis is going to produce a lot of money in New York City, and we have the platform to actually see what other states did wrong and actually capitalize on it here and we're going to do this if we actually work together. So with that being said, I'm here for it, my brother. I'm here with you. We need to sit down and talk and connect. But this is a wonderful opportunity. I just want to thank you, my sister, for having this event today and having this opportunity for other organizations out here to showcase your business and showcase the beautiful effect that you have with cannabis. And I think education is really, really important because the mindset in our community hasn't changed. People still think this is a negative plant, and we need to showcase how this is a positive plant and can actually affect us not only health-wise, but also affect us capital-wise. So with that being said, I'm going to pass it over to my sister, Althea Stevens.
Well, thank you to my brother, Councilmember Kevin Riley, and like he said, it's instrumental to his heart, but it's also very important to me that this is rolled out in a proper way. And I think it would be remiss for me not to mention that it's important that we're doing this in the Bronx. Yes. Because we all know in the Bronx, our communities have been ripped apart from systemic racism that was caused from the cannabis industry. And so now it is important for us to make sure that the communities that were destroyed by these racist legislations that was in the past, that we are benefiting from it now. So on the city level, it is our responsibility to make sure that we are communicating with community folks when things are not working. We are the first line of defense for you to let us know that things are not working, and we're gonna work with our state electeds to make sure that it's working for us. It is extremely important. So I'm just excited to be here. And like I said, it is not going over my head that we are doing this in the Bronx, because this is where we need to make sure that we're continuing to thrive and making sure all the resources are given to us, because we have been denied for too long. So thank you, us in City Council. We are going to work with our state elected. So thank you guys for being here. We're always working in partnership. We have been working at the City Council. And I also want to just say, Kevin Riley also was the sponsoring bill member who got the city cannabis in small businesses. So let's give it up for him, because he's been championing this. And I think that it's important that we bring this up, that this is what we've been doing, and sometimes in this conversation, they don't know the work that we're doing, so it's always important to give each other our flowers, so thank you.
Yes. Yes, our flowers are our plants, right? Yes. That's right. That's right. So we are so excited to be here today, and we want to send this message out. The pathway forward for New York City is about investing in the communities that have experienced the greatest disinvestment. This industry gives us an opportunity to do that. There are many communities across the city, but the Bronx is that as a borough. And so this is a moment and an opportunity for the state, the city, to make true in its commitment to bring New York City back by investing deeply in the Bronx. And we intend to leverage this energy, this moment and this industry to do that. I want you to do one thing for me before we wrap up. I want you to please give a really strong round of applause to Derek and Desmond Lewis, the founders of the Bronx Community Foundation. I don't know where they are. They're working somewhere. There are actually two of them. There's not one. If you see one, look for the other. I also, as we close, I want you to do a couple of things. Make sure you look at this historic site. Make sure you visit the booths, but also talk to the community members who have been so instrumental in bringing this moment forward and helping us bring this to the Bronx. I also would love for you to follow us at Bronx Foundation. And also, if you want more information, you can visit us at thebronx.org. Yes, we are the Bronx. Thank you so much for being here.